Good morning, and thanks for joining us on the Ohio AgNet. We're broadcasting from the Voice You Know at the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Certain Corn Herbicide. Unleash residual power early to allow for pre- or post-application to attack weeds at their weakest. I'm Joel Penor with your farm news. Good to be here, and those nice temperatures we're experiencing will continue on at least for a day or so. Then it's going to get cool after that. We'll talk more weather in a moment. But first, officials are expanding the statewide spotted lanternfly quarantine. The Ohio Department of Agriculture has taken its quarantine for the invasive spotted lanternfly to now cover the entire state, effective earlier this week. Now, under the new quarantine, trees, nursery stock, and other at-risk products cannot leave Ohio without inspection, a compliance agreement, or a certificate showing they're free of the pest. ODA officials say the insect poses a serious threat to key commodities like grapes, hops, and apples, puts pressure on Ohio's roughly $6 billion wine and grape industry. Further details at ohioagnet.com. Also there yesterday saw hundreds of Ohio Farm Bureau members gathering in Columbus for the 2026 Ag Day at the Capitol. There, they met one-on-one with state senators and representatives, and our own Ty Higgins has a video recap from the event. Brad Bales is Senior Director of State National Policy for the Ohio Farm Bureau.
Prime example of something that we just got done doing last year would be health plans. Farm Bureau was able to do a health plans bill in order to give our members more options on when they're trying to make their healthcare decisions. We used last year, 2025 day at the Ag Day at the Capitol, in order to advocate for that. And those people our members brought to legislators the importance of what that means for them, their families, and overall what it means to their operation.
Again, more at ohioagnet.com. Let's check in with our weekly update from the Ohio Soybean Council and your checkoff dollars at work. Dusty Sonnenberg has the story.
Joining me today is Dr. Horacio Lopez Nicora, OSU Extension soybean pathologist and nematologist, taking a look back at 2025 and one of the most unfortunate memorable events.
2025, if I would have to have a major highlight, which will be an unfortunate highlight, will be the detection and report of red crown rot in Ohio for the first time. We were able to visit a soybean field with the growers, with the consultants, our industry partners, and we were able to positively diagnose and confirm the presence of red crown rot. We collected sample and we are still measuring components. We are quantifying, numbers of pods reduction, numbers of seeds per pod that this disease can reduce. We also collected soil sample for soybean cyst nematode quantification. There has been report in the literature that nematode may interact with the pathogen that causes red crown rot, as we have evidence for other soil-borne pathogens. You have them together, there is a chance that they may be causing more disease together.
Again, those are the comments of Dr. Horacio Lopez Nicora, OSU Extension soybean pathologist and nematologist, talking about the find of red crown rot and the ongoing research to learn more here in the Buckeye State. This update brought to us by the Ohio Soybean Council and your Soybean Checkoff. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg reporting.
Thank you, Dusty. Well, let's turn the page to the weather and check out what's happening thanks to Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. Learn more online at seedconsultants.com. Here's Ryan.
Mild air continues to park over Ohio for one more day. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Quick Ohio forecast update for you. Yes, we are mild this morning. We have a secondary batch of rain that's going to start to work in here midday on through this afternoon, overspreading the entire state overnight tonight. Pencil in anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch with about 70% coverage across the Buckeye State. But this system that's bringing in this moisture later today and tonight also draws down cold air. So the spring weather that you've been experiencing, let's just call that your false spring. Mother Nature tells us it's time to go back to winter. So temperatures drop off dramatically for tomorrow. I think we see some sunshine in the cooler air advection. And we see some sunshine for Saturday as well. Strong north flow coming across the Great Lakes then as we move through Sunday and Monday. Brutal cold air, well, at least compared to the 60s that we're used to here. But very cold air to finish the weekend and start next week. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. The board of directors for the American Dairy Association Mideast, which is the dairy promotion checkoff program serving about 1,350 dairy farmers in Ohio and West Virginia, have elected their officers for 2026. Chair Greg Conrad of New Holland, Ohio. In the vice chair role, Belle Basankin of Worcester, Secretary Lois Douglas of Marshallville, Ohio, and Treasurer Joe Miley of West Salem. And talking dairy, USDA has released their latest forecast for milk class prices. World Agricultural Outlook Board Chair Mark Jekanowski.
So with the changes we made this month in the product prices, those translate directly into higher class prices. Class 3 price is up 30 cents per hundredweight this month. Class 4 price is up $1.25 per hundredweight this month. Though both of those class prices are still down year over year. Class 3 price would be down $1.36 per hundredweight from last year, and the Class 4 price is down $1.68 per hundredweight from last year.
That's USDA World Ag Outlook Board Chair Mark Jekanowski. You're listening to Farm News on the Ohio AgNet. We'll be right back with more.
Ohio farmers are excited about the approval of Striax dicamba herbicide for in-crop soybean use. For a limited time, B&B AgVantages in Conover, Ohio, are reopening cash discounts and financing on Asgrow soybeans. This is a fantastic opportunity to return to the proven yield performance of Asgrow soybeans and the strong weed control system of the XtendFlex system. Orders must be placed and paid for by March 13th. Contact B&B AgVantages for details at 937-368-3880.
Your farm news and information continues on the Ohio AgNet. Our own Allison Kinney checking in on energy.
Ohio has been buzzing with energy lately. No pun intended. The energy sector has changed and is growing across the entire state. From wind and solar projects to oil and gas pipelines, transmission lines, and distribution system upgrades. New forms of energy are also entering into the mix, including carbon sequestration projects, injection well infrastructure, and hydrogen production and storage. With so many energy projects emerging, understanding how to navigate these opportunities while also protecting your property is increasingly important. Dale Arnold, the Director of Energy, Utility, and Local Government Policy at the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation, shares his knowledge on how to make energy work for you. As these projects reshape different corners of Ohio, Arnold says there's a lot of things property owners need to understand. Him and his team can help landowners understand leases, easements, and service agreements, but says multi-generational planning is the best place to start. For more information, the entire article can be found at ohioagnet.com. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Allison Kinney reporting.
Thank you, Allison. Again, that full story online at ohioagnet.com today. Land prices around the state. It's something that we always keep a close eye on, and numbers lately, nothing short of, well, astounding. We throw it over to Joe Everett to give us the in-depth look.
I'm joined today by Devin Dye, owner of Dye Real Estate and Land Company. And Devin, is there ever a dull moment in the land business?
Not really. When we think things may slow down or change a little bit, there becomes just an added dynamic that changes some things up. So it's an interesting time in our business specifically. Yeah.
Well, and every time I look through the OCJ or online, I see different land auctions that are available and at different times. Is this normally a pretty busy time, or when do you see probably the busiest time, or do you see the most land auctions come available?
Yeah, I would say our land auction season is between November 1st and May 1st, really. That would be the height of auction season. Traditional transactions that are not auctions, they happen year round, right? But the auction season's just a different format. So usually in that November to May timeframe.
Now, have you noticed, is 2026 any different than what you've seen before? Or are we kind of on the same pace of what you see maybe come available, maybe more, maybe less?
I would say that it's similar to what we've seen every year. I mean, statistically, about 1% of tillable farmland transfers every year. And you look back through previous years, and it just seems to be the same. You'll hear that there's a lot of land coming for sale or things of that nature, and it seems to be area specific, right? Where you see a lot of things transacting in a certain area of the state. In another area, it's not so much. So if you look at a state as a whole, it's around that 1%. So it's pretty similar to what we've seen in the last few years.
Is there anything specific you've seen come up that's maybe a little bit different this year, or kind of just the same type of parcels that you've seen in the past?
Yeah, they're similar. I mean, we are starting to see a few more larger parcels come available. I don't know if that is across the board, industry standard, but I can say in our company, we've seen some larger parcels that we have coming up here in the next few months, and not something that is normal. I mean, we're used to the 80 or the 100 acres or, in that range. And we're seeing some pretty big chunks, 300-400 acres here coming.
Now, being in the land business, I'm sure you get asked a lot of questions about, land prices. What have you seen? And all those different questions, probably on a regular basis. You guys have come up with a way to put that information out. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I'm going to say 14 years ago, when I was kind of new in the business, I would get my monthly, reports from my financial advisor, which at that time there was nothing in there. So the reports were very small, but that you'd receive those reports and it would indicate, what's going on in your portfolio or whatever. And I sat down and kind of thought about a way to continue to inform landowners across the state of Ohio about, what's happening in the farmland market, what their assets worth. They don't get a report every year stating, what the value of their asset is. The way they would do that is reach out to an appraiser, a real estate broker, have their asset appraised every year. That's just not realistic, right? You can't do that. So getting our newsletter in front of as many people as we can just helps landowners understand the current market conditions, what's going on. Maybe a farm has sold within a county or a township close to them. They can kind of gauge what the value of farmland is in their area. To know specifically what their farm's worth would obviously take some form of a formal evaluation. But our newsletter, which we title it The Yield, it's just a good way. It keeps landowners informed with what farms are selling for in our Northwest Ohio area.
Well, thank you. I've been visiting with Devin Dye, owner of Dye Real Estate and Land Company. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
We'll talk markets on the Ohio AgNet after this.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
The Ohio AgNet continues. Time for today's market analysis, brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113.
Grain markets finished mixed to mostly lower on Tuesday, the first trading day of the week after the President's Day holiday on Monday. Corn finished down 5 to 6. Wheat markets were down as well, anywhere from 3 to 11 cents. The biggest drop coming in the Chicago nearby March contract. But soybeans turned positive late morning into midday and finished just a couple of pennies higher on old crop, 3 to 4 higher on new crop. The potential need of Russia to become more aggressive in world trade was the big story in the marketplace yesterday, and there was a lot of additional soybean buying debate from China ongoing. Argentine corn, Brazilian soybeans, and Argentine wheat prices continued to trade at prices well below the U.S. Gulf yesterday. The U.S. soybean futures moved higher on the hopes that China would secure additional tonnage. However, to this point, there has been no assurance that any purchase will be made before President Trump and Chinese President Xi meet in early April. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, let's talk overnight markets in Chicago, how things are shaping up on the grain and livestock side. Very quiet for corn and soybeans. March corn unchanged at $4.27 per bushel. May corn likewise unchanged to $4.36 3/4 cents. March soybeans up just a quarter of a penny to $11.33 3/4, but May beans no change there either to $11.42 $5.49. On the wheat side, July up 2 1/4 cents to a price of $5.62 per bushel. Markets brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. At the Merc, live cattle for February, a nickel higher to $246.60 per hundredweight, while feeder cattle up by about 18 cents for April, priced at $3.68. Hogs also gaining. April lean hogs up 25 cents to $92.55. May hogs $97 at last check. That's a 68-cent gain. And milk up a nickel near term, but down about 15 cents in future contracts. As always, you can find more farm news and information online at ohioagdat.com. I'm Joel Penordwood. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Ohio AgNet.